Hey Facebook, hey YouTube, hey Insta. It's Friday night. Hey, I guess I'm a little turned, really, because I'm actually doing. So this is my first week of being back and being consistent with Convo with Nikki, and I did it. 3 nights this week. I've been here around 10ish. That's kind of like what I'm holding myself to. I was gonna put myself like on time restriction, like be there right at 10. But I have decided that I need to do with I don't want to hold myself that like gun-toted to a place, but I am going to be doing nights because I like nights. Of course, it's Friday night, so my house is not quiet, but I have asked them to be. So, and I won't keep you because it's Friday night, and of course, Lonnie, he out doing something random. But he decided to jump on here. So, hey, BFF. So this is Convo with Nikki. This is a place where transformation happens through transparency. Yes, I'm taking it. I'm owning it. I am using it. It came forth on here on Wednesday night, and this is what it is. So Convo with Nikki is a place where a platform that was created that is just complete transparency, thought processes, my life experiences to get me to this place that I'm in. And I share my life. Not because I am like the perfect person. Not at all. So don't hold my stuff to a place of perfection. But I have endured some things and I've learned some lessons, and I'm understanding that I don't want people to have to go through the same things. So I just share. I share my experience. I share what I had to go through to get there, how I got over it, how I got through it, with a hope for that it helps somebody else. And so, hey Robert, hey Kimberly. I hope you see that your topic was chosen for tonight, so we'll get to that point. Hey Jada Butt. And so, yeah, so on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, you will be looking forward to seeing Convo with Nikki. Monday and Wednesday, I'm not so worried about nights. My thought process about Friday nights is maybe I should do during the day, but you all can tell me what you think. I'll see how this kind of goes, and then we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, this is Convo with Nikki. So invite people. All I ask you to do is that you invite. If you get a thing, if you get like a mustard seed of some information, I'm asking that you invite people. If you get like a snippet of something, I'm asking that you share. If it's something, if you get a takeaway at all, I'm asking that you share the video, invite people to watch. Tag your comments and questions. Please write on here. I read them. I go back and read them. I respond. I try to respond to everybody within a timely manner. I'm not going to go into a next week without responding to people from the week before. If you have any thought processes, if you have any questions, Friday nights will be my viewers' choice for the most part. I'm going to try to have a thought process about the week, because usually I get on here and Wednesday, if you tuned in on Wednesday, it was literally in doing a process, and I decided to share it. So tonight I did ask on Monday, I think maybe even Tuesday, for people to like give their questions or thought processes they would like to see me talk about. And so the one I chose was forgiving and forgetting. And then I had to like battle. I was like, okay, so where are we going with this? What is she, because sometimes when you get on here, you kind of want to make sure you're giving people what they need. But all I can give you is what I've endured. And so forgiving and forgiving and forgetting. And people always say, I forgive you, but I will never forget. And I think that's super true. I think in most aspects of forgiveness, that seems to be true. And I'm fixing my clothes up because that's the only thing about being on live. You can see yourself and you're like, well, wait a minute, is that my bra showing? Anyway, so the thought process for tonight is forgiving and forgetting. And if you have any input, if you've had to forgive, if you've had to have to deal with a process of forgetting, put your experience on here, because I'm not the end all be all. We've all experienced most things at different levels. And so this is a place of safety where people can come and kind of talk and get things out. Our ultimate goal is to help. My ultimate goal is to share my life and share my scars so that other people can heal. And that's what we're doing. And we can do that together if all of us end up sharing our stuff. So, again, the topic for tonight is forgiving and forgetting. And it was a viewer's choice. It was not something that I came up with, but it was one of the things that I decided I would choose from the list that was offered. So forgiveness, I think the first thing that we have to remember, or what makes forgiveness so hard, is that we initially consider the other person. wherein forgiveness has nothing to do with the person who caused the offense. Hey, sis. Hey, I'm Paula. That forgiveness has nothing to do with the person that caused the offense. And a lot of times we can't get to being able to forgive because we focus on the offense. And so I'll give a real life thing. So do you all think, I like for y'all to talk back to me. So do you think that in order for you to forgive, you have to go to the person who caused the offense? Or are you going to require that person to come to you and ask for forgiveness before you get to a place where you move past? And y'all can chime in and say your piece or whatever. For me, initially, I thought that's what was required. So I would hold people to this standard. Like I'm a grudge holder. Honey, I hold a grudge. I've been released from that a little bit. But I used to hold grudges to a place. Like, you offend me, you come across me, you cut me. It ain't no whole lot of going back. It ain't no whole lot of, oh, I'm going to deal with this. I'm holding it, and I hold it tight. Kind of like maybe for years. Not just for a moment. Like, I would hold it for years. And so forgiveness is the thing that literally released me. And so I need people, that's what I want your takeaway to be, that forgiveness does not release them. It releases me from what they've done. Right? And so a lot of times we get so focused on what the actual offense is that we miss the opportunity to heal ourselves. We want to hold somebody else accountable to us being frustrated, hurt, bitter, mad, angry, pissed off, and we want to hold that other person to the standard of, you need to fix this. You need to fix this because you did this to me. Please understand, I'm not excusing them from the offense, but I need us to understand that what we can't do is get ourselves to a place of being stuck. When we refuse to forgive the offense or the person, we become stuck in that place. It's going to sound hard. It's going to sound harsh. And some things are not going to be easy to forgive. Like, I think there are levels of forgiveness. This is my process. This is not a book. None of this stuff is in a book. It's just me. This is my opinion. Everybody's entitled to them. So if you've had an issue with forgiving, or you've had to deal with some things when it pertains to forgiving, please put your experience on here because someone needs it. And so this is a village. Convo with Nikki, although it's my voice you hear, it is not my only experience that you should endure. Everybody on here has endured something, has endured a process or of some sort where they still are holding a grudge, where they can't forget a thing, or where they've forgiven and it has released them from some things. All of them, none of them are wrong. I think that when people start to ask about forgiveness and forgetting, it's because they're at a place where they don't know how to move. Or they're in a situation where they know that they probably should and don't know how. Or the person who's caused the offense has no clue that they've even done anything, so they can't even help in the response. So what I have learned from me in forgiving, that I give the example. So the example that I'm going to use, or that I chose to use out of all of the things that I had, is my dad. So this is super transparent. I don't think I've really talked about him on here and the things that I've experienced or endured. And so this is going to be crazy. All right, so me and my dad have a great relationship now. Like, if I needed my dad, I could call him probably right now. I don't know if he's going to answer, but if I called him and needed him, he would probably show up. He'll be probably fussing about something, but he'll show up. It wasn't that way before. Not that he wouldn't show up, but I had hardened my heart for some things that I endured as a young girl, and as a daughter, that I thought I shouldn't have had to endure. And so what it caused me to do is become hardened-hearted by the things that I was a part of, or the things that I saw. At the hands of my dad, so my dad was the culprit for me in my process in growing up. And so that was something I had to deal with. And so y'all bear with me because I'm kind of talking myself through this, because I done jumped out on this porch. Transparency at its best. I done jumped off on this porch and I'm going to talk about it. I just got to get to a place. Because sometimes when we share stories, everybody can't come back from the story like you can, right? So, my heart was hardened for about 10 years, 10 to 15 years. Like, I would go see him, but it was just this place that I could not move from. And I went through this process, and I was like, I just want me and my dad to have a better relationship. So for me, I was like, I'm going to have this conversation with him about forgiveness, and that I am forgiving him from the things that I have witnessed and I endured, and I love him, and it's okay. That was my plan. Literally set it up. In my mind, I had wrote it out, like kind of like a process, you know, what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. And because I'm his daughter, I assumed that when I came with that thought process, because it wasn't like blaming him, but when I was going to go to him with this process, that he would be receiving of me offering this process. When I got there, that was not the case. So when we started talking, his perception of the situations that I endured was, it wasn't that bad. Like, girl, what you mean? What you talking about? So it had affected me to a place, honey, that I was super broken. I looked at relationships different. I mean, it had really took me to a place. And so as I'm talking to my dad, his perspective of what was going on is that he don't even understand what I'm talking about. So, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. So, for me, I broke down. Like, I was emotionally a wreck. I drove off. I was frustrated. It became like this argument that in my mind, I never should have had to endure, because I was forgiving him. Right? So, I'm going to him to forgive him. And in my mind, I won't do nothing wrong. Like, you should be able to take this and accept this. Like, I'm offering you an olive branch, and you should want it. Not the case. And that was this scenario. I'm not saying that this happens all the time. I'm saying that this was my scenario. And so I drove off. It kind of took me back further than I was when I initially went to the house to talk to him. What I learned in a process after that is the other person I'm not required to get the forgiveness from them to forgive them. So forgiveness doesn't have to happen in a conversation. I can release myself from the hurt that was caused, forgive them in that situation, and I can move forward. That process was crazy, because you always think mentally, oh, I'm going to forgive you. I'm forgiving you, forgiving that. That's the thing. So for me, it wasn't that I needed him in the forgiving process. Right? I didn't need that position. I didn't need him physically to I didn't even need him to say, yes, that's what I did, or it was me, or, excuse me, or I did this, for me to be able to forgive him for the offense. What I needed was to be able to release myself from the things that I had held tight and had moved me to a place of being bitter and hardened, because the issues were with me. As you can tell, because his response was he didn't even realize it was something still pressing on me from 10 years ago. He went to sleep every night. I'm somewhere broken, busted, and confused, because I was hardened by the things that I have been privy to seeing. And so in that moment, I had a breakdown, and I realized that forgiveness is not required for me to talk to you. I don't have to and I think that we have to remember, I ain't saying you got to forget it. I'm not a believer that you forgive me and you forget it. No, that's not what I believe. I believe I forgive you, I understand where you are, and I place you different. I'm not the person, I'm not one who says that I forgive you and I'm done with you. Some people you have to. I think I saw somebody, I think sis put up here that, forgiveness for her is situational. And I would have to agree on some levels. So those who know my baby story, that there was an offense caused to her. I can't promise you I done forgot. And I'm not going to allow them back in to this space. That's just me. Have I forgiven that person to a place? Will I forget? I won't. Will I let them back in? I can't. Does that make me heart-hardened? No. Understanding, I think that forgiveness is a process. And so then once you forgive and then have an understanding of where I'm going to place you, right? Now I know how to deal with you. I'm not going to let somebody be a repeat offender of some of the same offenses and me respond the same way when ultimately I knew who you were when you did it the first time. And so a lot of us give people chance after chance to continue to do the same things to us, because our hope for is that they have come to a place or a better place of understanding. And that's not usually the case. One of the things that I think we've learned over time is when people show you who they are, you have to believe them. Do I believe that people can change? I do. Do I have my own biases? I do. And I think sometimes we have to get to a place where we understand our biases, respect them there, and deal with them in another type of way. And be okay with that. Like, I'm okay with me, but I ultimately have to forgive, because the forgiveness makes me heart-hardened, or makes me get to a place where I'm now sheltering her because of thought processes of what people have done to her. Yes, I need to be aware, but I should not allow her to live because I'm frustrated in a place of a thing that she's been exposed to. I hope this helping. I'm kind of talking slow because I don't want... Forgiveness is a touchy thing, you know, especially because there are so many different levels where forgiveness plays a part. And so I want to make sure that in forgiveness, you have an understanding that it's not for the other person. And so even if you get to a place where you've forgiven a murderer, or you've forgiven a child molester, or you've forgiven abuser, it doesn't mean that you're wrong. It means that I understand what you did. I see what you've done. I can't forget it, but you don't hold power over me. Because see, forgiveness releases and relinquishes a stronghold on your life from the other person. Not just, oh, I'm not going to, not just, oh, this is for me. This is like, I mean, this is for you. No, this is for me. You don't have no power here. You don't have no control here. I got you. I see what you did. I forgive you. I understand it. I don't have to understand it, but I see what you've done. I know who you are. I've forgiven because I need to move past. Because when we don't move past, we're the ones that's stuck. They're not. We're the ones that's still holding on, wishing and trying to figure out and place people and do whatever. They're not. So for me, I've been doing processes, and I use women. I've been doing processes with women. Everybody know I have a bunch of sisters, so which means I have a bunch of women around me, which means that there's some catty moments. There have been some backstabbing and some snickering and some things. And so I think one of the questions, even when we were on a cruise, for those who didn't know, I did the sisters cruise. For even those of us who were on the cruise, some of the questions that were asked were, how do you kind of be safe and talk to women when they don't present themselves to be friendly, or when they want to refuse what you're offering? I think the bigger thing is, who are you offering it for? If you're offering it because that's the kindness of your heart and that's who you are, then don't change that position. Be a little more careful about how fast you offer yourself and offer your heart and your sistership to somebody else. And forgiveness, remember that it's a relinquish of holds on you and a regain of power and control from you. Oh, that's good. So it's a relinquish of strongholds from the other person, the person who's caused the offense, the person that's put you there, and a receiving of power for you. Because now you're back in control of the situation. You're back in a place where you need to be so that you can sustain and move forward in relationship building. Not necessarily with that person, but ongoing relationships. Because for women, we'll get in a place where somebody... I'm sorry, y'all. I said it was going out, so hopefully y'all are back. But what we're talking about is forgiveness and forgetting. And I think that forgiving, when we realize that forgiving ultimately releases a stronghold that the person who's caused the offense is put onto us, and then a regaining of our control and power over situations makes it a big deal. And so that's what makes forgiveness important. Forgiveness is regaining the control and power of your life and of situations. And when we've not forgiven and we've become frustrated and mad and pissed, we've allowed that person to control who we are and how we respond, and then how we move forward in other relationships. Y'all know, if you get frustrated with a man, or y'all in a relationship and you get frustrated with your wife or your girlfriend, and it's some trust issues, you take those things into next relationship. It's the same thing with forgiveness. When you don't forgive, you take those broken places into your next relationships, whether that be friend, sister, co-worker, cousin, auntie, uncle, whatever. You're going to start to look at them different because of past experiences. But when you forgive, not necessarily forget, but when you forgive, it kind of softens your heart to be able to allow other people in. And so that's what I think. I think if I had to give a takeaway as it pertains to forgiveness, is that remember that the forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you to regain control and power and to be released of the strongholds and the hurt. Because if I have to forgive you, it means that you've done something to me. Nobody forgives somebody because they was doing everything right. If I'm forgiving you, it's because I've endured a process with you. I had to go through something with you. I had to... You hurt me in a way that at this point, I don't think I can come back from. Usually that's our initial response when we have to forgive. I don't care how small it is. It's always we can't come back. We can't come back from that. I don't understand how you did that. F you and everything about you, everything connected to you. And then we respond immediately to our temporary emotion. I'm not saying some people don't deserve that response. And I want to make sure that we remember, like we said earlier, and like I think Sade said earlier, that this response of forgiveness or responses of forgiveness are situational. I would never say, or I'm never an advocate for being where you are being abused, broken, busted, disgusted. That's not what I would ever say. What I will say is that be in a place where you can have control over what you accept, what you allow, and what you do. And so I don't want you to be stuck in a place because you can't get past where you're ultimately trying to be. So forgiveness and forgetting. We never really forget because memories are what they are. Our memories are the things that are in the forefront of our mind. Our memories are the things that we hold fast to. And we usually hold fast to negative memories because that's exactly what it is. It's something that caused an offense. It hurt us. It's broken us to a place. It's caused us to look at everything else around us crazy. And so if we don't get to a place where we can now ask for or say, I can forgive you. I've forgiven the offense. I'm moving forward in a place where I have a clear thought process and I've regained my power. I've regained control. You can't control me here. You can't control my emotions. I'm not giving you that type of power. I'm okay with being who I am in this space. I'm okay with understanding that you are who you are and I've put you in your place. And you can't bring harm here anymore because I see who you are. It's hard because even when you think about that, so forgiveness, even when we talk about marriage, and if the offense was in a marriage, it's hard. It's hard. And but what we're supposed to do is better or worse, right? And so when there's an offense, even in forgiving, there has to be a rebuild of trust. So if you're going to forgive someone that you're going to allow back into your space, and you can't like put them in a place, there are places in your bed, has to be a rebuild of work. Forgiveness is like tears. You know, of course, so you stole my $5. Okay, we got a place. I'm frustrated with you. Do that mean I don't trust anybody else to get them $5? No. When we're talking about marriage, though, and we're talking about, I guess the ultimate thing is cheating, calling somebody. You get ready to call somebody up on the phone. I look at your phone records. I see that that's what you're doing. We got a whole problem because now I don't trust you. But you have to be here because this is what I decided to do. So now, not only am I going to have to deal with rebuilding of trust and relationship, I'm forgiving you in a place and I'm going to allow you back in my space, and I'm going to be a little bit guarded. That's reality. It doesn't mean that you have not forgiven them. It means that you have an understanding of your own heart. Naturally, most people who have been offended have a guard. Not telling you not to have a guard. What I am saying to you is understand what you're going to do with the guard. Right? And then when are you going to remove it? It has to be removed. If you're ultimately truly trying to let somebody back into your life. If you're not letting them back in, then do that. A lot of times we try to do what's right, so we ultimately are like, oh, I'm going to do this and it's going to be fine and I'm going to move this person back and we're going to work this thing out. And then we forget that emotionally we're damaged now. Emotionally, we're in a place of brokenness. We're frustrated, even in our forgiveness, because now I have to rebuild relationship, which has caused me to be now guarded because I can't forget. I'm guarded because you're the person that caused the offense. And so I wish my dad was on. Pastor White, him and his wife, if y'all know the story or whatever, you know a little bit of their story, is that dad cheated on mom, ended up having dad had a baby outside of wedlock. Anyway, so that's their a tidbit of their story. One of the things he used to say to me was the thing that he hates to do is he hates to hear her talk about it. The other thing that he hates is, or one of the things he had to endure in the process of them continuing to be married, was whenever, like, they would have a good day, and in the middle of that good day, she would go back to that place of hurt and flip off. Right? So can you imagine being in a relationship and you and your partner, you think y'all having a great day, it's fine, y'all having doing some stuff, we done had dinner, we done been out, we done did whatever, and they kirk out on you. Because you're the one that caused the offense, you have to own the responsibility of working on the guard. Right? You are now responsible to make sure that we are back to where we need to be. So if I kirk out in the middle of the day, yeah, I'm sorry, you put us here. And so, yes, in forgiveness, it's a process. So yes, I've forgiven you for the offense. It does not mean that the offense does not still hurt. There's still some residue of the offense. There's still some hurt of what you've done and what you said or how this played out. And I hold you accountable to help me walk through this process so that I can be better. So forgiveness and forgetting. So I hope that you, like, forgiveness is important. Forgiveness is about you. It has nothing to do with the other person. Depending on where they fit in your life. Depending on where you're sitting them in your life. You don't have to, right? You don't have to have them back in your life. And it doesn't mean that you haven't forgiven them. It means that you know what you can handle. Certain offenses don't give you permission back in. Doesn't mean I can't forgive you. Doesn't mean that if I walk past you, I gotta shoot you and kill you. I could probably speak and that'll probably kill you worse. And I can walk past. So I think that forgiveness and forgetting is based on your heart and where you are in the situation. And then understand that even in forgiveness, there's a residue that are our memories. There's a residue that'll sit there. I'm not telling you it's going to ever go away. Because when somebody's offended you, unless you got memory loss, you're going to always remember that thing. The catch is, how much control will you allow the residue to keep? You know, what's that? I think it's a Dove commercial. Then the Dove commercial show you with the soap. And you kind of wash. I think they use like some off-brand soap and then their brand. And when you spray the water on their brand, it rinses off clean. Right? And when you spray it on the other one, it's like this thick white residue that's kind of still there. All soaps leave a residue. FYI. You can rinse all you want to. You use some of that Dove body gel stuff. You put it on you. You will get out of the shower. It's still going to feel a little slick because there's still some residue there. It may not be seen, right? But there's a residue that resides there. And so it's the same thing with forgiveness. And even in the thought process that some of the things are going to be easy for you to forgive, there's going to be a thought process related to and connected to all forgiveness because it's a memory attached. The catch is, will you allow the residue to control you? Or will you regain your power and control the situation and what you allow in? And then when you let it back in, be able to handle it. Because forgiveness is for you. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's all about me. And in that moment of forgiveness, it don't have to be to their face. You can forgive them for the offense at your own house, in your own moment. Free yourself on a piece of paper, let it fly off the window, and then live in a new thought process, in a new mindset of what life will be. So that when it comes time for you to get to the next person, and to the next person, and to the next person, not that my prayers that all of those people offend you, but when you get to a place that forgiveness becomes unconditional. Right. So when it come back to my mind and my remembrance, it don't have a hold on me. Like, that's what true forgiveness is. Like, the memory is going to be there. I don't know how to tell you to forget memories. That ain't nothing that I have ever had the opportunity to do. Probably be nice for some of the things that I've endured in my life, but it's not my reality. And so forgetting is not necessarily an option, but where I put you and where I place you and how you continue to move forward in my life is a totally different thing. I hope this helps. I hope that in forgiveness, you can regain your power and your control of your life and of relationships to come, that they're able to be built on firm foundation in a trustworthy place. And that even in your memory, there's little residue of hurt. It's Friday night. This is Convo with Nikki. I hope you share. I hope this helped. Forgiveness and forgetting. If you have any topics that you would like to talk about, put them on here. Inbox me, DM me. Anything. It's fine. Monday night. I think Fridays I'm going to do midday. That means I'll have to take my lunch break and talk to y'all. We'll see how that works. But if you have suggestions for Fridays, because I know 10 o'clock on a Friday night, some of y'all probably getting dressed on y'all way out the door. And I want to make sure that it's being able to be fed to somebody. So I hope this helped. Kimberly, I hope this helped. If it did, please let me know. If it didn't, we can go back to the drawing board and I can give you something else. I can get some other people to come on and definitely offer opinions other than me. Because I'm not, like I said, I do not believe I'm the end all be all of a voice. I just offer what I've endured. I hope this helped you guys. Have a great night. Friday night. Have a good day. It's first Fridays. Y'all should be out with a heel on or something. Having a good time. Anyways, good night.